What is going on, everybody? Yeah. Um, I don't know what to say. I really don't. But if you guys new, make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Detroit, Detroit. We gotta have a conversation here. What the fuck was that? Someone explain that to me. You blow a 17-point lead, come out of the half, and Daniel. That's a bit of an overreaction, but I did look, if anybody wants to like come in, in the chat and stuff like that, give your overreactions, shoot, by all means. Like I said, it's kind of open. Um, but yeah, so the Lions, they go out with a whimper. Basically, they pretty much had their tails tucked between their legs. Credit to the Niners though. You got to at least give them that. But there was a few issues that I saw. And I've watched bits and pieces of the game because obviously I was do a lot of video gaming. But case in point, for those who are not really paying attention to it, you had Jameer Gibbs fumbling, probably in Niners territory, which boy, that was a costly mistake, and obviously that led to a touchdown, stuff like that. Which, by the way, and I'll get to Dan Campbell too, because I think he deserves to get his ass, so to speak, getting torn apart. And the reason why I say that, look, I'm not saying he should be fired, but at some point there is, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think the Niners, they use their wits, whereas Detroit had pretty much everything going right, and then you had Campbell decide to say, "Oh, you got 4th and 2, a 4th and 3," where you could have had a manageable field goal to pretty much put this game on ice, figuratively speaking. But no, decides to look, I don't mind the aggressiveness, but at the same time, you got to be smart in these types of situations. Whereas, look, yeah, I know that's the new style of NFL nowadays, but at the same time, Campbell at times just doesn't does not make smart decisions. And now Detroit's probably going to lose their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, to the Washington Commanders, which we'll go talk more on that as well here as well. And like I said, I'm not really, like, if you guys want to rant, especially to the Detroit fan base, to the Detroit Nation, if you guys want to come in and rant, look, by all means, the floor is open. You can talk about how you feel, your thoughts, reactions. Like I said, all that's open. But Jameer Gibbs fumbling, that was kind of fucking stupid. Now, granted, I mean, yes, that's kind of the only one mistake he's had, but at the same time, should have tucked the ball in, held it with 2 hands, and actually, that wouldn't be much of a problem going into, and obviously fumbling Niners territory. And my thing is too, the open field tackling has been fucking horrible. And granted, this is also coming from the guy whose team also sucks at open field tackling. So I know that, from watching not say really watching the Eagles, because without losing any fucking brain cells, that's besides the point. But Dan Campbell's something's got to change with him, because granted he had got them the first playoff win in over 3 decades, but at the same time, this aggressiveness, it really did it figuratively bit Detroit in the ass. It really did. 4th and 2. 4th and 3. You left 6 points on the board. You could have had to put this game away, be up 3 scores, what have you. But apparently to Dan Campbell, it's like, nah, we're going to go for it. Arcu, like I said, I have no words to this. I really don't. Because this isn't that. I'll get to Reynolds too. And like I said, I won't get to that as well. Detroit just had a lot of shit go wrong, especially in that second half, for those who have watched the game. And yes, and Josh and Reynolds, literally 2 crucial catches you could have had, but had Butterfingers. I don't. I literally, legitimately don't know what goes through Dan Campbell's mind almost 9 times out of 10. I really don't know. Sorry, I had a burp coming on. But, yeah, that's understandable. But at the same time, look, do I, because I know there's probably going to be that 1%, probably 1 to 5% say, oh, fired. I don't think Campbell's getting fired. Now, if he pulls his shit again, then there's a conversation to be had about him being on the hot seat. Because right now, I still think his seat is slightly warm. It's not fully warm. Or I'll say, actually, no, I'm sorry. The better term is lukewarm. I don't know why I said slightly warm, but yeah, I mean, look, like I said, credit to the Niners he's safe for now, but I still think his seat is definitely lukewarm because I don't think they're going to, and I really hate to say this, but I don't think they're going to get back. I think they're still going to be a consistent playoff contender, but I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl under Dan Campbell. I just don't think that's going to, I know that may sound harsh, but at the same, because I'm trying to look at it in a different perspective. And yeah, and that's the first time you've been in the NFC Championship game since 1983, which for those who don't, or the older fans know that the Niners went on that same year and won the whole entire goddamn thing. Besides that, it's getting to the point where something's got to change. Definitely Eric Glenn needs to be fired, that's for sure, because holy crap, that defense was, what the fuck? Played lights out in the first half and completely was non-existent in the second half. Led up 17 unanswered points by the San Francisco 49ers. Honestly, if I wanted to say this too, Kyle Shanahan outcoached Dan Campbell. It's clear and obvious. I mean, do you really blame him? I don't. I get it. Like, this is fucking embarrassing. I'm sorry, but this is embarrassing to all the Lions fans who are out there or maybe watching this. I feel bad. I really do. Because take it from me, who's seen my team get blown out in the early rounds. Trust me, I know. Now, I still think, honestly, I would rather have the night. Like, I'm probably not gonna watch it because we're back. Because here's the thing, it's just, yeah. I'm not really going to talk much on the Ravens game because, like I said, I didn't bother watching most of the postseason this year because I just never. Look, I didn't really lose interest in football, but just the football playoffs this year was just. It's just been meh, quite honestly. Like I said, I might be flipped back and forth like the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. But if you guys got any questions, hey, look, like I said, I'm pretty much open to any questions, concerns, that sort of thing. I mean, like I said, and I'll say this too, I think I think Kyle Shanahan being with the Niners, probably the best decision. How long has it been? It's been probably in a while because I'm probably blanking on that, but that's besides the point. Brock Purdy, I will say, did look a little bit better. Now, granted, yes, some spots he looked a bit shaky. Don't get me wrong, but obviously, Goff played pretty okay. St. Brown was okay. Gibbs, that fumble was costly, pretty much, and obviously Reynolds with those 2 drops. But at the most of the point, I think there's going to be equal blame go around. You can blame Reynolds for the 2 drops, blame Gibbs for the fumble, and you definitely got to blame Dan Campbell for those not going for 2 field goals that left 6 points on the board. You could have. I'm sorry, but I don't mind the aggressiveness, but you got to do it in increments depending on the situations. And Dan Campbell's situations at a lot of times is mind-bogglingly stupid. And honestly, congrats for being a complete fucking dumbass. Decided, honestly, you had the. If I told you that I'm not saying the Niners, but the Lions had this game on a silver platter, and you threw it away like a piece of trash. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I look at it. Look, call me like a pessimist, you know. Oh, oh yeah, he's definitely should be regretting that. I'm sorry, but there's no goddamn way you let 6 points on the board. Honestly, if he did kick the 2 field goals, we wouldn't even have this conversation. And rightfully, and you see on social media, like, Campbell gets the blame. Now, I do think he gets some sort of the blame. Don't get me wrong. Now, like I said, I will definitely would do. Like I said, probably Thursday when you guys see the All-Star Sports Show, we'll definitely go. Me and Tyler will go more in depth with this. But I want to talk more, just touch on the Lions a little bit because I think Aaron Glenn's got to get fired. They're going to have to find his replacement. He's got to get fired. Kendall Vildor, you got to pack your bags out of there, bud, because holy crap! Like, how in the how God's green earth do you fucking miss an easy pick right in the face mask? I'm sorry, but the way that some of these players, I think Campbell is a good coach. I don't think he's great. And to be fair, do I think should be part of coach of the year? Sure. But the way after tonight, maybe you should have put Steichen in Campbell's place at this point. I really do believe Shane Steichen, I thought has done a much more of a better job than Dan Campbell. And yes, despite the Colts missing the playoffs, that's one thing. I won't be not surprised. But like I said, that's going to be we're going to touch on Thursday. But what's going on, RC? I think crash out is probably the most understatement I have ever seen. This was a complete disaster class, as you could put it, by the Detroit Lions for a franchise who's been sorry for decades. Finally, have a chance to make the postseason. Finally, wins their division after 30 years for the first time in 3 decades. Wins a whole playoff game, and completely shit the bed in the NFC title game against the San Francisco 49ers. When you were up 24-7 at the half, then you guess, okay, then you stop San Francisco. Gave up a field goal. That's one thing. It was like 24-10, never really think much of it. But then as you saw that defense starting to crumble, yeah, it pretty much spelled the end of Detroit. And it really does suck. Don't get me wrong. It sucks if you're a Lions fan. And look, I thought Goff played it pretty okay. Was average. I think he looked okay. Brock Purdy, like I said, wasn't too perfect. Wasn't that great. Well, I would say he wasn't that great. I will say, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't really terrible. Again, showing that, well, if you can get to him, bring the pressure. Now, if you're going to bring the pressure to him, you can see that, that makes him vulnerable. But that's pretty much how you're going to game plan. But now you're probably wondering, and like I said, we'll do a little bit of all season talk here on this post game and stuff like that. Like I said, this is going to be more like my reactions and stuff like that. I'm not going to do like this, in-depth analysis and all that shebang, because I'm not going to take up too much of your time. But overall, like I said, it was a decent game, but it was very meh. I didn't. Here's the thing. I didn't do. I will definitely do would put a stream together and review the Royal Rumble this year for this yesterday. So I'll be doing that at some point, probably later sometime this week. But really looking at this, and to Detroit, you're gonna have to start to figure out like who is going to be your next offensive coordinator because you're not going to have Jen Johnson for most likely. Because I do think Ben Johnson is definitely going to Washington. I don't think there's no if, answer, buts about it. Because after seeing this disaster class that the Detroit Lions put on the second half, I wouldn't stay either. You know, I mean, look, I know Ben Johnson did all he could. You know, it really is hard. And also, too, for those who are wondering, why is my eye look a little funky? I will say, I'm not going to get too graphic, but yeah, I did pop up multiple blood vessels in my left eye. Well, I know my camera it looks like it's on the right, but it's technically my left eye. So if it looks like it's a little bit drooping, don't worry. It's nothing to really worry about. I'm still healing up from multiple pop blood vessels in my left eye when I was sick from bronchitis. Irrelevant. But Ben Johnson's definitely gone from Detroit and going to Washington. I think that's kind of obvious. Or I'd be shocked if somehow Seattle gets Ben Johnson for that matter. But I think he's definitely taking that Washington job. But Aaron Glenn's definitely got to get fired. There's no question about it because the way that how that defense played in the second half, very disappointing. Brian Branch, look, he played pretty okay. Kendall Vildor, I swear, you can never tell me you cannot miss an open. Well, that's RC. Don't remind everybody because that's probably the most funniest moments in football history, and obviously it's probably the most. And it's a lot of Falcons fans' memories for the last 5 years now, give or take, since then. But I still think, and go back to say what I said about, Campbell seem being lukewarm. I think at this point, it has to be lukewarm. And I do think, look, I think next year they're definitely going to make the postseason, but I don't think they're going to go far again, depending on who they have as the new OC. But if they get Aaron Glenn as a defensive coordinator, that's not gonna be good because let's be real, their defense. And I've always said, that defense for Detroit has been freaking suspect as shit. Outside of Brian Branch, who's actually had a pretty decent season, but Kendall Vildor, he needs to hang it up because the dude. I'm sorry, but the dude does not like catching balls worth a damn. And you need a defensive coordinator that knows how to, bring bring the blitz. Well, also mix with man coverage too, so you won't have to leave the middle of the field wide open. But I don't know, man. After just seeing what I just watched, I will still think that Dan Campbell's seat is lukewarm so far, but exactly, it really does. This Detroit team, I don't know what direction they're going to go in because, like I said, they're losing Ben Johnson probably to Washington for that head coaching job. They're going to have to go find a new OC, depending on who that's going to be. Aaron Glenn's got to get out of it. Has got to get fired. But if the ownership keeps Aaron Glenn as the defensive coordinator, well, say hello to another year of mediocre defense from the Lions, and probably that's going to make the season a little bit harder for Campbell because I hate some coaches to lose their jobs, but Campbell's just going to be one of those guys. How do I explain this? I will say, look, it's, obviously missed out on the playoffs last year, not by much, which is crazy to think about. But obviously finally won the division for the first time since, 1992 or 1994. Regardless, and the first time in over 3 decades, finally win a home playoff game since 1992. Um, and the fact of the matter, it was a success. Don't get me wrong, but there is some problems with this franchise, mostly in the defensive end, anyways. That's all I gotta say. They gotta fix that defense. There's no if answer buts about it. If they don't fix that defense, and it yeah, Green Bay's. I think Green Bay, as kind of crazy as it sounds. Well, Vikings. The Vikings are going to be hit and miss. In this division. That is true. I really do like this idea. Yeah, Green Bay is definitely improving. You saw, as young as they are, they play some pretty good football, despite being a 9-8 team in this. I would say somewhat weak NFC North. I mean, unless you're a Bears fan, but that's a whole no conversation for another time. But like I said, the Vikings, yeah, I think the Vikings are taking a step back. I don't. That's that's an interesting conversation because because right now they're not going to have Kirk Cousins. Now that should tell you that other way they're going to have to take a quarterback in this year's draft. That's kind of given because I don't know who they're going to have for 2024 for the 2024-25 season. So that's going to be interesting to see. But I think Jordan Love is definitely the guy for Green Bay because I think he has shown to be that guy. And yes, I know most of the first half of the season was off to a rocky start. But like I said, me and Tyler will talk more on that on Thursday as well. But yeah, I still because I think the Lions are going to have some competition next year for that division. That's for sure. Because now I still think Green Bay is going to get better. Don't get me wrong. I think Matt LaFleur has done some pretty good. I will say, in the second half, Jordan Love looked really good. And for a guy that's set behind Aaron Rodgers for the last, was it 4 years, give or take? But I think Green Bay, I think they're going to get better. Vikings might take a little bit of step back depending on who they have at the quarterback position. But I don't know what their defense is going to be looking like. Oh, trust me. Like I said, yeah, we'll talk more on that because I think it's going to be interesting to talk about some of these teams or what direction they're going to be in because it really is. There's some conversations that need to be had. Now, you're probably wondering, is there a possibility that Dan Campbell might be fired in the future if he continues to have moments like these? Probably. Because I think here's the thing. I think he's going to be one of those aggressive coaches where he might outcoach himself to the hot seat. I know that's where it sounds, but when you really think about it, and just think about this really a second. If Dan Campbell does not get, let's just say, consistent, makes the playoffs consistently, but always are first or second round exits, and obviously his coaching decisions continue to bite this team in the ass, how much more does the Lions ownership and the front office need to take it? You know what I'm saying? Because I really do think I do think Campbell should stay for the long haul. But if he's going to have moments like these where he's going to continue to cost his team multiple opportunities, and I'm pretty sure he's left a shit ton of points on the board in this entire, not just on the board for this and tonight, but probably throughout the entire regular season, for that matter. And it really is mind-boggling, that Dan Campbell did decide not to take those 2 field goals. And as for those who did watch it, it bit Detroit in the ass very hard. Pause. But overall, like I said, congrats to the Niners, for outwitting and especially outthinking the Detroit Lions, because let's put a picking part of that crappy defense with Kendall Vidor, who I am surprised he still even has a job in the NFL, for that matter. But at the same time, I mean, look, Goff could do what he could. I mean, it kind of sucks the way had now. Look, it really is embarrassing to see the season to go out the way that the Lions have done. Don't get me wrong, but it's just one of those things. It's like it makes you wonder, like, what is next for the Detroit Lions? Like, where did they go from here, for that matter? And it really is. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Exactly, you're in the NFC title. Look, granted, yes, that's kind of the new style of the NFL nowadays to be aggressive. But you've seen coaches where it depends on the situation to be very aggressive. But the fact that he's like you're in a field goal range on a 4th and 2, 4th and 3, I think especially in that second half where you could at least taking those 2 field goals and be up third 30 about like 30 around like 30 to 10. If my math is doing correctly at the time. But it really is one of those things. It's like one of those biggest what the fuck moments, basically. And it's one of those things. It really, like I said, I would say, continue to say it's biggest what the fuck moment. But also, congrats for Dan Campbell to be a complete dumbass. Because like I said before, the Lions had an opportunity to finally make it a Super Bowl appearance for the first time in franchise history, and Dan Campbell decides to somehow fuck it up. It's like I said, missing 2 field goals. Well, not just Dan Campbell, but there's a lot of things that probably went awry. The defense collapsing, that is one part. You had Vildor missing an easy pick in the second half. You had Reynolds dropping 2 crucial, easy fucking passes from Jared Goff, who puts it. I'm sorry, but those are the easiest catches or easiest passes I've seen Jared Goff make. And yet Josh Reynolds decided to go, let's see if we're going to make it. I don't want to make this comparison, but Nelson Aguilar, and a lot of Eagles fans know where I'm going with this. In that game, the dude had bricks for hands. And then you had Gibbs fumbling in the Niners territory because he didn't want to tuck the ball in. There was a lot of fucking problems that this Lions team, they completely shot themselves in the foot. Is basically what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we got our Super Bowl 54 back in 2019. Oh yeah, that's right. We got our Super Bowl 54 rematch. And my ear itches. And I don't think no one's probably going to watch other than Niner and Chiefs fans. But outside of that, Detroit, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. You had an opportunity to finally make franchise history to make your first Super Bowl appearance because good fucking God, post 99 or post Matthew Stafford, or give or take it, or whatever the case may be, because I can't remember the life of me. That entire franchise was played with bad ownership, bad front offices, and just they didn't do much. I mean, case in point, go back to 2008, 0-16 season. And part of that time you had 8 years later this is the same franchise that forced Megatron into fucking retirement and also had to pay him back that, or force him paying back that signing bonus, which was complete fucking bullshit, by the way. And then you try and look, the one I would say who had success out of was probably Matthew Stafford. And yes, it was kind of crazy to see him get traded out of Detroit, but it was probably for the best for Stafford because the Lions at the time when Stafford was there, I think in his later years with the Lions haven't really done much, and it really does suck if you're a Lions fan. It really does. Like, honestly, I could care fucking less for this year's Super Bowl. I'm going to be focusing more. So, like I said, I'm not going to be watching the Super Bowl this year. I'm sorry, but like I said, the playoffs this year and the Super Bowl matchup that we're going to be seeing this year, it hasn't been that great, quite honestly. Well, I would say, the Chiefs and Ravens game was actually pretty okay for what it was, but besides that, I was interested for the food and festivities, but outside of that, I ain't pretty doing jack squat for the Super Bowl. I'm pretty much just going to be gaming a lot, maybe do a couple gaming streams here and there, depending on which games I want to do. But outside of that, I mean, like pretty much going forward, since pretty much football season is pretty much done until the United Football League comes in the spring, which you'll definitely see a lot of with the spring football. So don't get that twisted. Until then, you're gonna see a lot of MLB content, that's for sure. I'm sorry, but the NFL and that's gonna be a whole other conversation I'm probably gonna have on Thursday on the All Star Sports Show. I'm gonna rip into the NFL because this league has become, and I will say this, I will die on this. If I have to die on this hill alone, this league's become a joke. It really has been the last 5 years. Because the fact that the NFL only cares about fucking ratings and shit like that, and all about it's making money is one thing, but the fact that you don't really give a complete fucking shit about the league. I am going to do a lot of basketball mostly for the WNBA. I might have a couple NBA streams coming up this week. I just got to get them set up. Hockey, I'm trying, because it's been hard to get into hockey. But baseball for sure, because I know I was going to do a lot of college baseball too, because once we get towards the end of MLB draft, I'm going to do a lot of my own scouting stuff, that sort of thing, and which I was hoping to plan to do this past draft, but really couldn't get a chance to do it. But obviously, I'm going to have an opportunity to hopefully try to do it this year for the draft, or this following draft class for whatever reason. But like I said, I'm going to do a lot of college baseball, and definitely a lot of baseball in particular, because obviously that's kind of my number one. But in terms of basketball, I've been watching a lot of college basketball, but I haven't really gotten streaming it. But in terms of the rest of what's coming up in the future, definitely you're going to see a lot of the It's Running podcast every Mondays at 6. Occasional Raw stream here and there, depending on if I want to do Raw or a basketball stream that night. But I would try to do. I might do two basketball games, Tuesday and Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, it's that pretty much. But outside of that, like I said, I'm not going to be on for too long. Like I said, I want to try to be here at least for 30, 35 minutes or so. But outside of that, if you guys are new, you should subscribe, and all that good stuff. And make sure you guys check out the merch shop down below, because like I said, I think we got deals going on, because I haven't really checked. But I think right now, let me take a look right now. Just bear with me, because I think we should have a deal going on. Oh wait, I don't care about that. Marcus all red. So in terms of, if anybody wants to cop the It's Running podcast or the Sports Runners Connection merch, like I said, check out the link tree down below or the link in the description. Because I think right now, so far right now, so in terms of the deals, if you guys want to catch us some merch, it is 20% off of everything, because like I said, and I will say this too, this is the last day to get it, because you guys do not want to miss on the amazing deal we have on the merch. Like I said, the link's in the link tree and in the description down below, as well. Check out, and and before we get out of here, let's hear a quick word from our sponsors. Have you thought about saving money on tickets, whether it's sporting events, concerts, wrestling events, etc.? Use my promo code PhillySports at checkout to save $20 off your order. That is PhillySports ORTS Philly Sports to save $20 off. If you're a Twitch streamer, late night gamer, or YouTuber, check out W Energy. It's the perfect pick-me-up for every occasion, so why not try it for yourself? Go to w.gg and use the promo code SportsWrestle10 at checkout to save 10% off your order. Golfers and sports enthusiasts, it's time to take your game to the next level with ShankIt Golf. Shop at shankitgolf.com and use promo code SportsWrestle15 to get 15% off your order and free shipping on orders over $100. If you're a top-tier high school or college athlete, a veteran in the men's league, coaches needing uniforms, or even an enthusiastic little leaguer needing bats, gloves, batting gloves, etc., we've got you covered. Right now, you can give your performance an extra boost by entering the promo code SportsWrestle10 at checkout so you can save 10% off your entire order. Are you looking to make a statement with your very own custom jersey? Go to fansidea.com and use the promo code SportsWrestle10 at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. Absolutely. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors. They are going to be linked in the link tree down below, especially with SeatGeek at this time of the year for those who are going to college basketball events, baseball, football, that sort of thing. Make sure you use our promo code Philly Sports, save $20 off because, like I say, we're eliminate those fees. Like I said, me and Tyler got you covered on that. But also, like I said, check out the merch store down below. And also check out the rest of our sponsors. We're from W Energy, and obviously too, all the promo codes you saw on the screen are capitalized. So make sure you won't forget that. Shout out to W ShankIt Golf for those who are golf enthusiasts. Sorry, I had a little hiccup coming on. And also for baseball guys like myself or anybody who is in, like say, high school, men's league, or needs some college, or in college that needs like good equipment, apparel, that sort of thing. Singer Sports is a place to go. Like I say, use promo code SportsWrestle10 to save 10% off. And also, you guys want custom jerseys, Fans Idea is another great place to go to get your stuff, and especially like if it's other custom jerseys, even custom jackets. That I think that the Fans Idea, as well. And use our promo code SportsWrestle10 to save 10% off. So, like I said, we got you guys some good stuff. And also tonight is the last night to redeem or obviously get 20% off on all merch, whether it's from the main channel stuff on the Sports and Wrestling Connection, or the It's Running podcast that you see every single Monday at 6 o'clock Eastern time, live here on the channel. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff going on, and we're probably going to get more stuff as well. So stay on the lookout for that. That being said, if you guys are new, like I said, subscribe, definitely share this out as well. And that being said, I am